I would say how I connect to sincerity. And sincerity for me is to live up to the highest ideal that you have conceived. And obviously it's not easy because there are parts in us which are aligned, there are parts not so aligned, there are parts that resist. And the whole process of yoga or personal effort, whatever we call it, sadhana, is to work upon these parts which are resisting or not aligned. So one has to look at them and then gradually align everything to the highest ideal that one has conceived. That's how I look at sincerity. And as far as the festival of Auroville comes, I feel it's a very good initiative, and there should be many more such activities, because common action for a constructive activity, common action for a creative constructive activity is one of the means to bring unity. So one reason why the mother created Auroville was this, because when human beings come together and do something creative, then it has repercussions over the world. So I see the festival of Auroville in this sense, that people come together and therefore there is a certain degree of alignment, if you want to put it in terms of sincerity. They are aligned at least around a common action. So later on the inner alignment can take place, but at least there should be this. So Maheshwari is that we should have the wisdom to understand the larger context. So whether it be Indian culture or Auroville, the larger picture should never be forgotten. It's not something which is, we can't work on the details without knowing the larger context. So that's Maheshwari. Then Mahalakshmi is that this, because it's a group life, there should be a sense of harmony, but again keeping in mind the larger picture. Harmony cannot come through compromise, adjustment or adaptation, but through a mutual understanding, growing in that wisdom. Mahasaraswati is where you fit into all the details. So all of them, all the aspects work together, only they don't work harmoniously in human beings. So we must have the larger picture, Maheshwari, the larger lines. So unless we grow in wisdom, nothing really works, because we may have things on ground, but wisdom is important. So I suppose one activity where people understand what Auroville is about, what yoga is about, what Shubhendra and the mother are about, and then of course you have to grow in wisdom. The second is Mahalakshmi, where through common activity, through common exchanges, we grow in some kind of spirit of harmony. And yes, then in the details, this larger truth should reflect in the details. So this is the third part. And as I said, when we don't take care of that, then Mahakali steps in. So that becomes a very different way of doing things. Because ultimately, when the time comes, she has to change.
So when Mahakali, is it just about power and force? And
yes, she is strength.
Destruction, or
no,
can it also be positive?
Yes, it is always positive. Even destruction becomes positive. So strength means she jumps time. Mahakali is, as I was saying, she sets the rhythms of time. So it may seem like destruction sometimes, but eventually it's a step forward. So it's not that destruction is bad or all construction is good. An ignorant construction maybe of a skyscraper is not good, because it's done by exhausting many resources. We can construct things, but equally a destruction which clears the way for the future is good. So it all depends on whether it's guided by wisdom or by human ignorance. So wisdom is to, since we are at it, to express the divine will and to manifest the divine will in our life and activity and in a group life. So that's how I look at it.
So Mahakal, the word Kali comes with Kal.
Time.
And that is, it's not to do with darkness.
No, it's time. That's, in fact, Mahakali, Shubhendra says that she is of a golden color. But this portrayal of this kind of destruction of the Kali form, not the Mahakali, is when at some time she has to descend into the vital. That's when it takes the form of furies of nature. Or furies, for instance, when there are great floods or there are cataclysms, earthquakes. So that fury of nature, behind it is Kali. And if you take the Mahakal side, then the Rudra forces. But it should not happen. There should be no need.